they're both bad.
No, the first one because they had 80,000 killed.
It also, I mean, they're different sized cities too. That's part of it.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that. Which one was more built up in terms of like density?
I mean, they're about the same size bomb. The problem is the size of the city. So we are actually going to stop there because we haven't quite gotten to some of their. So if you'll turn to, we're just going to switch gears. We'll go ahead do 27. We'll do the treaties, and then we'll go to one of the themes. Actually, two of the themes I think we can cover today. Page 27, the treaties. I have extras.
I have mine at home. I wouldn't want to waste an extra.
Well, I ran one for every kid, and only half my kids are taking it. Okay. Treaties. Page 27, because we already covered those top two. Yes? Right? We did compromises, right?
Yeah, we did.
Last week?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Treaty of Paris, 1763, ends the French and Indian War. Do not do that. Do not disrespect Indians. My great-great-grandmother was a Native American. That's not polite. Yes, you were. Oh, that is not polite. Yes, it is.
That was their call.
Not all of them. No, it is not. Oh,
Yeah,
It
my
might not be
grandmother
them
was
since they do it in the universal language. They don't have a universal language.
Some of the provisions of the French and Indian War include, like, France loses all of its colonial possessions. Great Britain gets possession of those. This is where they come back and tax all the colonists, leading to the American Revolution, and we get the Treaty of Paris 1783, which ends the American Revolution.
This is 1763 and 1783?
And the Treaty of Paris 1783 is what gives the United States its independence.
So who has to recognize this? 'Cause didn't
Great Britain. They had to let us go, pretty much. Jay's Treaty, 1794. British troops are ordered to leave their posts in the West. They had stayed behind thinking the American Republic would collapse, and they'd be there to pick up the pieces. Pinckney's Treaty sets the United States southern border at 31 degrees north, which is like the northern boundary of Florida.
You said 31?
31 degrees north. It's whatever, like, that is sticking in my head for some reason, I think, with this one. But it's the northern boundary of Florida. And it's going, like, the United States can use the Mississippi River. And that's a treaty with Spain. So even though we do not control all that territory, we can use the Mississippi River. Treaty of Ghent, 1814, ends the War of 1812. That's the war where the outcome is everything goes back to the way it was before. America is just able to show it can stand on its own 2 feet, a little more respect. The Adams-Onis Treaty is the purchase of Spanish Florida. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo ends the Mexican-American War. The United States gets the territories of New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah. Treaty of Paris, 1898, ends the Spanish-American War. The United States will get several territories out of that. So we get Guam, the Philippines, why can't I think, Puerto Rico, several others. The Treaty of Versailles, 1919, ends World War I. Wilson's 14 points are a part of this. Germany is blamed. They have to pay back crap load of money. Germany cannot have a military. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, is a military alliance for collective defense. Military alliance for collective defense. And it's between different European and North American nations. NATO. The Southeast Asia Treaty Organization is the same thing, collective defense for Southeastern Asian countries. That one dissolved in 1977. Any questions about any of the treaties? No? Go to page 18. We'll start on the themes. Oy vey. Oy vey. Like, oh. OMG. One of those. Okay, we'll start on religion. There are different themes. Okay, religion in the 1600s and 1700s. I broke it down by group. The Puritans settle in New England. They have Calvinist beliefs. They believe in predestination. You should remember that. We did talk about that, the idea that God has already chosen who he will save for salvation. That profit or blessing is a sign of salvation. You're being blessed by God. So those who are not doing well are being punished. Both church and state serve God, and church officials cannot be state officials. City upon a hill refers to the idea of being an example to the world of a proper, pure religious society. That was said by John Winthrop. They refer to themselves as a community of saints. They're also referred to as Congregationalists. These are more of our pilgrims, would be our Congregationalists. The Halfway Covenant. Over time, there's a decline in the religious zeal and church membership, so this is kind of like half church membership, to where if your grandparents were converted, then you could participate in some of the church affairs. If they'd had an actual personal conversion, then you could participate in some. If you think back, we talked the colonies, Massachusetts, their whole colony and society for a long time centers around church activities. Town is at the center of the colony. Church is at the center of the colony, not the town. Harvard is founded in 1639. That is the first university. It's founded to be a Puritan group. John Winthrop is one of the Puritan ministers. He's one of their main leaders. We also get the Salem witch trial, 1692, mass hysteria, witch hunt. 20-something people were executed. One was crushed to death. The rest were hung. John, what all did you talk about with the crucible with that?
The
was so fun.
The proctors and all that. And
Okay.
mostly the soap opera version.
They were all Irish.
There's also, remember, we talked in here about maybe some of the other divisions like sides of towns, economic status. Yes? Remember we looked at the maps? Did you finish? Do you have any questions about it before you go? Do you need a bus pass?
Did they really convict the dogs?
I hope not.
We won't talk about that. I'll bring you one of my college research papers.
Come on.
I
Really?
had to research in depth the Salem witch trials.
Did they?
We won't talk about it.
I'm interested.
The Quakers
Oh, man.
are another group. They settled in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a refuge for Quakers, founded by William Penn. They were pacifists, did not believe in conflict. They opposed slavery. They opposed mistreatment of natives. They believed that you had an inner light to where you could have a direct communication with God. So they relied on the Bible less, which means Puritans don't like them. And their official name is the Society of Friends. Ooh, that's a typo.
Yep, brains.
Their official name is Society of Friends.
Why couldn't we all just get along?
The colony of Pennsylvania gave full religious freedom. They had a representative assembly. People came from different parts of England to come settle here. They weren't all Quakers, but they were able to
Peacefully coexist.
peacefully coexist. Yes.
Yeah. Big word there.
The Anglicans, that just refers to people from the Church of England. Catholics settle in Maryland. If you think back to 10th grade world history, Bloody Mary, Mary Land. That's why it was named Maryland.
Just me.
Mary was a Catholic queen. Maryland Act of Toleration is 1649, gives full religious toleration except for Jews and atheists.
Oh.
Bless you. I took an entire class about how much people don't like Jews throughout history. The Great Awakening, 1730s to the 1760s. Oh my gosh, that fly just landed on my paper. That scared me. That came out of nowhere. Jonathan Edwards kind of sparks that revival with his sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. He's the one with all those wonderful metaphors that I think I'm going to put on a poster and hang up.
Maybe you can freak out your freshmen with it throughout the years. Just quoting
Yes,
randomly.
Oh my God.
George Whitfield is another famous preacher. We